Yeah.
You shouldn't be here.
How you doing?
All right, how are you? He's got the ribbons, I get him.
That's why I saw him. I said, man, this ribbons there. This guy's all right.
Not many people get that.
It's not like me right now.
This is Ciro's sister, right?
I think I met you before. That's a few years. Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Hey, I'm Joe Savino from Lawrenceville, New Jersey.
Charlotte McGarry from Toms River.
And Rick McGarry. My cousin. You're from Toms River? I thought you were married.
They don't know where they're from. That's okay. It's early in the night. More importantly than, oh, go ahead. Let's get these.
Robert Savino. My wife Elizabeth. Bye-bye. Are you from the same town?
No, you have to. Sorry.
Jeff Petrucci, sir. Jeff Petrucci. Nice to meet you.
He'll be doing a presentation. Are you going to say anything? It's up to you. It's not.
That's all right. I still want you to do the shots on screen. Okay, great.
Jeff, nice to meet you.
We're going to get a couple pictures. And this is even though people
My apologies.
No, but I should have said, I thought I notified everybody.
He's the best.
Oh, yeah, I thought
Ron
so.
Naldi.
That's nice.
A drinker, yes.
Bellino.
How are you?
What's your wife?
She was at the ticket counter.
You know what?
Hi, how you feeling? Good to meet you.
I met you when I came in, Carl.
Yes, good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
What'd you get that tire?
Yeah, it's BW.
You got him in Trenton.
No, I mean,
we'll have to get him in Trenton.
I'm up in Trenton all this week.
Good.
I'm at the, I'll be at Trigen.
All right. Pino's formal wear on Hamilton Avenue. You may have to work one step at a time. Pino. He'll be here tonight, too. Trenton. I said you got it. Right. He said you got that in Trenton. All right.
Things always come to you. This is U.S. Space Foundation.
New Jersey News? Yeah.
You recognize
Oh, wait, does he have?
Yes, he does. He can hear what we're saying.
Hear what we're saying?
Very lovely
Then
today.
we're not going to talk to
Where's your
him.
husband? What's going around now? Your husband's coming around.
Get these guys in, too. Their husbands.
Anybody want a will? Anybody get divorced? Anybody need to be followed?
John's available. All right.
I don't know who the...
Well, you don't know the rules? Okay.
I don't know where they're sitting at. They're here?
All right. Yeah.
Everybody get one of them.
Every seat has one. There's John back here now. Tony, you right?
Yeah, no problem.
Fits me up real good.
They're having a great time. Everybody's having a great time tonight.
Yeah, they really are. Right. Say that again.
Are you accepting?
No, Ciro Properties accepting it.
Audio. You're looking good. Everybody fine?
Vincenzo Lagama, he wants to take a picture to put in the American Hodge. So I was looking for him.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Where's he at?
He's here with Mario. Okay. You want to go now? You bring it over here? Yeah, why don't you bring him right over here?
That's how we go. Oh, yeah.
Who are you looking for, Carl? The guy that just walked in with, Mr. Paragon.
To your left.
I showed it to your cousins, and I showed it to the other members of the community in Italy, and they all said, well, gee, we would like to participate. And so what happened, Frank brought me a present.
Yeah, I understand.
He didn't understand that the present bringing me was actually a plaque that was dedicated to him. That's great. And I have here the most beautiful plaque. It's in silver, and it's beautifully written to Frank Bergeron from the friends and relatives of Command. I don't know the translation. It's a proud, but I think it's more than just proud of all that he has accomplished, his intelligence and his professionalism as demonstrated through the qualifications of the St. Louis and it's from the, with proud affection from all of the members of the committee. Frank, congratulations. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you. I really don't know what to say. This is entirely too much.
Beautiful.
It's amazing. Thank you again.
Show it, Frank.
Very good, Frank.
Carl Caramelli.
It now gives me great pleasure to introduce tonight's honorees and special guests. From the Metropolitan Opera at Lincoln Center, Mr. Ronald Nolly, world-renowned tenor. Accepting the Medal of Valor in honor of Investigator Michael A. Tula of the Ithaca, New York Police Department is his father, Mr. Armin Cahola. Our Citizen of the Year for 1997, the General Agent of Northwestern Mutual Life, Mr. Joseph M. Sabino. Humanitarian Award recipient is the Barron Athletic Association, Mr. Dinos Banjabi. The state delegate and president of the New Jersey Policemen's Benevolent Association and a detective with the Oakland Police Department, Mr. Michael J. Milano. Accepting the Arts and Science Award, the program manager from Lockheed Martin Missiles and Space, Mr. Frank Bergeron. Ladies and gentlemen, our 1997 inductee an actor, director, producer, and writer from New York City, Mr. Ciro Polky.
Oh, Heavenly Father, you have created the human family and entrusted to it the care of the rest of creation. You have implanted into each of us the ability to protect, to create our daily tasks. We are responsible for the talent you have entrusted to us. The instruments of our culture, our heritage, enhances our abilities to enrich your creation. Today we recognize and we honor individuals who have accomplished this noble task with talents, commitment, dedication, and love. They have excelled. As we recognize the accomplishments of these outstanding individuals, let us also be influenced and encouraged so that each of us may use our rich heritage and our courage to better the life of all, especially the next generation that follows us. This, O Lord, we ask for your kindness. Amen. Amen.
Redbird. Freeze it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ron Naldi will now sing, or Ronald Naldi will sing our national anthems.
Stripes and bright stars, for the perilous fight, for the rampart we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, they broke through the night, that the flag was still there. Oh, save us, the star-spangled Stringiamoci a corte, siamo pronti alla morte, siamo alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Stringiamoci a corte, siamo pronti alla morte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Sì.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Mr. Ronald Naldi, our concert pianist Joanne Shirota, our State Police Honor Guard, Color Guard, and our Italian American Hall of Fame members who presented the flags. Thank you very much. I would also like to acknowledge the Knights of Columbus, Chapter 355, who were the escorts this evening. I think they did a great job.
I too would like to welcome you to the Italian American National Hall of Fame 23rd Annual Awards and Inductee Dinner. We're going to move the program along briskly. We have 5 awards. They're all important to each and every one of us. They're important to the recipients. Please pay attention, and we'll get rolling. Now let's get on with the show. That's the way it should be done. Thank you. We're going to move right along with the presentations, and the first presentation is the Medal of Valor. My job is to introduce the presenter, who will then talk a little bit of the individual involved. The presenter for the Medal of Valor is M. Jeffrey Petrucci.
Before I start, he mentioned that I was the Commandante. Sounds like I should be Colonel Clinker or somebody. Commander is the right term, but I'll answer it. But next year we're adding a portion to the evening you did not see tonight. You know, I just wanted to digress for a second. You want to see a comedy show before you come in for dinner? Join us out back when we're lining up. You can imagine after 27 years of service, I followed these people out because of curiosity. I wondered where they were going. And Carl got here and goes, up there, up there. But we are here, and we do have a very serious reason for being here tonight. Carl has asked me, and I very graciously accept his invitation to do the following. Tonight we're here to honor a deceased police investigator, Michael Padula. He was killed in the line of duty on November 17th of 1996 when he was responding to a call for help from other officers who were engaged trying to calm a woman down who was obviously out of control. He, arriving upon the scene, took charge as being the senior man there, tried to coax the woman out of her situation, not knowing that no matter what efforts would have been expended that day, because of her mental state, she did not realize what was going on. She burst through a door, caught him, wounded him with a knife that she had in her hand, and he subsequently died. We're here to honor that death, but we're also here to do more. And I think it would be wrong if we didn't do the second part, and that's to celebrate his life. Because first of all, he did what man can only do best in love for one another, and he gave his life to save someone else. He stepped to the forefront when he was called, and we need to remember who he was and what he brought to those around him. It would be wrong only to dwell on those things that are past, but to remember that while he was with us, he left a mark on all those that he touched. He was dedicated to service. He obviously brought love to those who were around him, and we need to celebrate that. I tried to figure out in my own mind what he might want us to do in celebrating his life and remembering him this night when we bring his father up in just a moment. I think he'd want his name spoken with joy. I think he'd want his name spoken without a shadow around it, but very positively in remembrance of who he was, because of what life is and what it meant then and what it still means today. He'd ask that those who knew him and those that didn't would still laugh and play and smile, and to remember and celebrate every day that we have. Because after all, he's not out of our minds, he's just out of our sight, and he's just around the corner. And where he is, all is well. What I'd like to do now is to call his father up here so I might present our Medal of Valor in his memory. in honor of investigator Michael A. Padula, Ithaca Police Department, Ithaca, New York, Saturday, September 27th, 1997, in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
We, the entire Padula family, who cherish our Italian-American heritage and in the memory of our beloved Michael, thank each and every one of you.
I'd like to call upon Ron Naldi to sing a tribute to this officer. Ron Naldi will be accompanied by Joanne Shirata at the piano. Ron? Ronald, scusa. We move along to the Citizen of the Year. Our presenter is Marissa Savino, daughter of the recipient Josephine Savino. Marissa is a senior at Lawrence High School. She is president of the Student Council, an outstanding student, and in addition, she finds time to be athletically active at that school, where she plays attack forward on the hockey team, and also she plays softball. It's a pleasure to call upon Marissa Savino. Marissa.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's such an honor to be here tonight to introduce to you Joseph Savino. Now, I must say, it's quite awkward to introduce him as Joseph Savino, because normally whenever I would introduce him, it'd be as Dad. However, he's known by many different names. Coach of my brother's wrestling team and of my softball team. Mr. Chairman of our local zoning board. Mr. President of our local political club. Mr. Savino is the owner of the Savino Agency. To his nieces and nephews, Uncle Joe, and to many people, a friend. In thinking about all the things that I wanted to tell you tonight about my dad, I decided to read a quote, which I feel best exemplifies my dad's attitude towards life. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, who strives valiantly, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows the triumph of life, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. Theodore Roosevelt. Paralleling this quote to my dad's life and achievements, I believe it is the very reason he was chosen as the Italian-American Hall of Fame Citizen of the Year. He has been in the arena, whether it was building his business, providing for his family, or supporting his community. He has, and he never will, be one of those cold, timid souls who knows neither victory nor defeat. And it is this positive quality which is reflected in everything he does, and I believe makes him the strong, successful person that he is today. And that is something which has impacted my life greatly, and I think impacts everyone else's life who surrounds him. When my dad first asked me to introduce him tonight, I was a bit surprised. I wonder why he did not ask the president of his company or the senator who he knows. But the more I reflected on it, I realized it is the very essence of why he has received this award tonight. He has always been able to balance his family, his fun, and his work. And it is with great pleasure, admiration, and love that I introduce to you this very special person to me, my dad, Joseph Savino.
I had all my comments very planned and organized, and after that introduction, I'm a little bit taken back. I'm very touched and very proud of my daughter, Marissa. Thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart.
Can I use your water?
Thank you. Well, good evening. What a pleasure to be here this evening at this great event. I do have a couple of brief comments that I'd like to share with you. Before I do, let me extend my personal congratulations and best wishes to all the other nominees, and my special warm wishes to the Medal of Valor winner this evening. My comments will be about thank yous and values. They will be brief. Before I begin, I'd like to tell you a brief story. It's about the minister who went to his first church sermon way out in the country. It was his first time. He was very excited. He set up 300 chairs ready to preach his best sermon he ever prepared. However, only one person showed. So he was confused. He went down to that farmer out in the country and he said, I have this great sermon to prepared, and I'd like to present it, but only one person shows. What should I do? He said, well, I'm just a little farm boy, and my suggestion is you give the sermon. You see, if I went out to feed the cows and only one cow showed, I would still feed that cow. So he went up to the pulpit. He gave the greatest sermon he ever gave. At the end, he went back to the one farmer, all by himself. He said, what'd you think? He said, well, if I would have went out there to feed that cow, I wouldn't have given him the whole truckload. I will not give you the whole truckload this evening, I promise you. First, I have to do some thank yous. I need to start with my wife, Joanne, the very beautiful woman that's been with me for 21 years. Oh, I almost missed that. She has supported me through all of these endeavors, some of them kind of kooky, and she stuck by me through it all, and I couldn't have done it without her. So my warmest love and expression of gratitude to her. I'm proud of all my children. My two boys are here, Michael and Mark. They were late. Michael had a soccer game. We have 2 cars here. Any soccer families out there? So you know about that. There are 2 people here that I would not be here if it wasn't for them. My mom and dad are here this evening. I thank them. I have business friends, I have business associates, I have friends, and I have my mother-in-law, my brother-in-law, my brothers, Bill and Robert. There are just too many people to mention, but I just want to thank them all for being here with me this evening and sharing this event. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. It was 1960 in October. And I was a young man of about 8 or 9, and I heard a funny noise in the middle of the night. But you need to understand, in the Savino family, that was not uncommon, you see, because my dad was a milkman. So it wasn't uncommon that I might hear a little noise in the middle of the night. This sounded a little different, though. And when I got out of bed and looked, what I found was my dad, Rocco Savino, rolling coins. He said, "Joe, you have twin brothers. Go back to bed. Mom's doing great." 8, 10 years old, I went back to bed, naturally, concerned for school the next day. But you see, there's a little moral to that story, and the story is that I am really very blessed. I'm really very advantaged. I was brought up in a loving family. I learned values. I learned the values of hard work and a loving family. I learned the values of faith in my God, integrity. I learned the values of good attitudes toward life. And from those values, we draw strength. From this strength, we can do things. And it is our obligation to give back. We get strength from many different places. I'm very honored this evening because there's a woman here that we thought would not be. As I sat by her hospital bed and said prayers hoping that the right thing would happen, whether she would live or die. But she lived. My mom is here after a severe heart attack, which makes this moment just very special for our entire family. So we find strength from our values and from our families, and we give back to society for all the good things that we have been given. We find strength from strange things. You see, one of those twin boys didn't make it. We lost him in a car accident. But we learned a lesson. We learned to live each day to its fullest, because isn't really all that what it's about? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this award, and may I wish you all to live each day to its fullest. Thank you.
Joe, there's a letter here from James J. Nemec, who is the Vice President of the Agent Development of Northwestern Mutual Life. In essence, he congratulates you, and he leaves a last sentence with, he's a good friend and a great role model. You may not know, however, it is that Joe is known nationwide as having the worst sense of direction. I am sure it's only because his lovely wife, Joanne, is with him that he found his way to the dinner. May I conclude, Joe? Here's your awards that you left at the table. For the Humanitarian Award, we are going to have the Cabo de la Polizia, James Challender. However, before I say that, the Barron Athletic Association, with its president, Dino Spanichati, is that award winner. Dino Spanichati celebrates his birthday today. I thought we'd all give him a round of applause. Happy birthday. Wish him a happy birthday. Now, the Chief of Police of the New Jersey, New York Waterfront Commission, a real good friend, a tremendous individual, a fellow who has really done a great, great job for the Italian American National Hall of Fame over the years. We kid him a lot, but he is absolutely sensational and is the right arm of Carl Carabelli. Jim Challender.
First, before I get started, Mr. Badullo, I'd like to salute the father of a hero. Having spent 30 years in law enforcement, it's tragic, but your son is a hero, and may the peace of Jesus Christ be with him. I was sitting on the dais, and to my left, that fellow up there used to be my boss former Attorney General of the state of New Jersey, Jim Cizali. However, he thought he was the boss, but I was the commandant of the State Police Academy, so I was the real boss. How proud I am of those troopers that were here tonight. Did they really set an example of what New Jersey... They're an example of what all New Jersey law enforcement is all about. Now, I'm looking to my left, Mr. Frank Cargione, quite a scientist, astrophysics. Don't let it go to your head, Frank, because if it wasn't for the math part, I could have been a scientist too. We had a conversation, Larry Arcioni and I and Father Frank, we were talking about getting to heaven. As we're getting up in years, we have this first and foremost in our mind. By the time Father Frank got talking to Larry Arcioni, I said, listen, Father, the only way Larry Arcioni's getting to heaven is if I drive him. I am honored to present this award because I am very active myself in a lot of charitable endeavors. I am going to introduce to you an organization that has been dedicated in New Jersey to the service of mankind for 64 years. I am the volunteer director of fundraising for the Sunshine Foundation, so I know what the Barron AA means to organizations like the Sunshine Foundation, to Deborah Hospital, to Robert Wood Johnson. Their efforts have been so great that I don't think there's an organization in Mercer County that has worked so hard continuously for 64 years. I want you to stop and think of that. I'm not even 64 years old. I may look it, but that's what you get for being in a hatchet fight without a hatchet. But this organization is known far and wide for its charitable work, but the essence of the organization are its members. When you hear of Barron, you hear about all the work by each individual member in that organization to make it go. That is why they've been able to generate $500,000 for Deborah Hospital. You realize that's $500,000. This organization consistently comes to the forefront when there are people in need in the state of New Jersey. What makes them go is teamwork. They all believe in what they're doing, they all work together, and they all care for their fellow man, regardless of their creed, their ethnicity, or their color. But what does it take to make an organization so great, so charitable, so caring? It takes leadership. We are going to recognize Dino tonight for his leadership. But I submit to you, not only is it Dino, but every member of that organization is a leader. And every member of that organization follows the same methodology that Dino follows. And that's leadership by example. That's washing the dishes. That's selling the tickets. That's going out in the rain and the wind to meet people and to do the right thing. So I submit to you that, again, it's a team effort. And each team has a leader. Here's a man who has been with the organization for 51 years. So I think he's in good standing to come up here and accept the award on behalf of the Barron AA. But before I talk a little bit more about Dino, and I won't be long, I want every member of the Barron AA to stand up because I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, from the Sunshine Foundation and from the citizens of New Jersey. Please stand up. I felt the sincerity of those applause, Dino. Here's a man who's in his second term as president, served many years as vice president. But he's a nasty man because Barron AA is only a couple of blocks from my house, and I still jog. And I happened to jog through his parking lot, and I guess he thought I was some kind of pervert. And he said, "Get out of this parking lot or I'll rip your lips off." That's that man sitting right there. I'm only kidding. He's a thoughtful, kind, and considerate person. He's a motivator, he's dedicated, and like all barons, he's hardworking. He's a true leader, he leads by example, and he has mutual respect for the dignity of his fellow men and women. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you on behalf of the Baron AA, its president, Mr. Dino Spanacciati. Wake up, Dino, it's 1997, right out here in the front. I know it's blind.
It's not my forte, but I'll try. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests. I am very honored to accept this award on behalf of the Baron AA, its wives and friends. This has to be the greatest honor bestowed on our organization since its inception in 1933. I want to thank all our members for their hard work to achieve this honor. As their president, I am very proud of them. We want to thank the Italian American Hall of Fame for this award and to assure you that Baron AA will continue to care about and serve their community. I would like to present my officers that are seated over here. First, Joe Caserta, would you please stand? Anthony Angelini, Ernie Serino, Robert Muley, Robert Napoleon, and Stan Piklinski. That's the tongue twister. I thank you very much.
Jimmy Zazzali, former Attorney General, Avvocato Generale. Jimmy Zazzali.
Thank you, thanks, Larry. Of all the introductions I've ever had, that was by far the most recent. He just enunciated the firm names, Zazzali, Fagella, and Nowak, and I'm reminded of the fact that about 2 years ago I met Geraldine Ferraro, and she looked at the letterhead of the stationery, and she said, "What a name," she said. "It sounds like a circus high wire act." Jim Challenger, right on my left here, said before how years ago I was his boss. Having listened to him tonight, I wonder where I went wrong. I'm so happy to see Marissa up here. Marissa introduced her dad. I thought that was terrific. I have 2 girls. Unfortunately, they could not introduce me. They could not in the future or whatever. You see, they're half Irish. It doesn't mean they're bad people, but what can you do? I was told to be brief tonight, and I will, and the reason for that, you may have read it recently. There was an article in the Times about the fact that the average audience, like you folks out there, only has an attention span of 12 minutes. And that's true, and after 12 minutes of anyone speaking, the attention fades. And this is true. The subject that the person most turns to, the audience, when they're sitting there bored, the subject that they most start thinking about are sexual fantasies. That's true. So if I go on too long, at least I'll try to give you a good time. To the seriousness, I think we all know, being of Italian extraction in New York, New Jersey, we all know over the years the jibes and the problems and the sneers that we've been subjected to. I'm pleased to say that based on my observations and my information over the last few years, last 10 years in both states, and particularly in New Jersey, the tide has turned, and law enforcement, federal and state, in New Jersey, New York, and indeed throughout the entire nation, has come to respect the job that law enforcement is doing in New Jersey, and particularly the job that Italian Americans are doing in New York and New Jersey to address the problem. The image has changed, the tone has changed, the criticism has stopped. And one of the reasons it has stopped is because of this honoree this evening, Mike Madonna. People like Mike Madonna, and particularly Mike, have made a difference. Starting as a police officer, becoming a local delegated officer of his PBA, with the police academy, the police training commission, and on and on. That was all great, but the one fact which I think proves his credentials this evening is the fact that just a year ago, the New Jersey State PBA, 32,000 police officers elected Mike Madonna the state president of the state PBA. And they did that in recognition of his leadership qualities. And before and since that time, in the last 12 months, he has shown not simply a capacity to deal with reforms, instituting reforms to help the organization, not simply dealing with the problems and the needs of 32,000 police officers in the state, but going beyond that, dealing with the press in a responsible way, dealing with legislators so that he has their respect, dealing with the governor. Indeed, this governor I know has an open door policy with Mike Madonna, because if she doesn't have an open door policy, he'll break it down. The proof is in the pudding. He's done a fabulous job. He still has time to, as he has, raised with Uta a great family. There's Brian and Michael and Jeffrey and his daughters-in-law, Karen and Terry. And what he has brought to the family is the same thing that he's brought to law enforcement, and that is simply dignity and decency. And he has shown throughout his career, and he will continue to show that in the many years ahead, not simply that he has the intelligence and the integrity which he has to do the right thing, but most of all, more important than intelligence, and even more important than integrity maybe, he has always shown that he has the courage and the compassion to follow through. Mike, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Good evening, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, my family and friends. It's a great honor for me to be here this evening. Overwhelmed, I guess, to be blunt. Jim, I have to tell you, you're running late. You're doing Rascals about 5 minutes, so. Jim's also a comedian on the side. But to be here amongst all you people is a great honor. I started many years ago in law enforcement, 31 years. And it was a challenge, but something I loved, something I enjoyed doing. I took interest in the union part of it, and I worked my way through. It wasn't easy, but I did my hardest, and through friends and supporters, we did a great job. I have here this evening some of my executive board members, my local executive board members, my family. I wish they would stand, because we have 74 people here, so please stand. I would appreciate it. Please stand. I have office employees, I have them all, and it is truly a great honor for me. Thank you. To get where I am, as Jimmy said, I did have support. My wife, it is her birthday, and happy birthday. Mom and Dad, my sons, Tony Winters. It was a hard task. I say that with deep feeling because I come from a small town in Oakland, New Jersey, population only 12,000, only 30 police officers. And to get where I am, to run for the largest police union in the state of New Jersey, 32,000 men, I am proud to be where I am, proud to be Italian-American. Earlier this year, I was honored by the Italian-American Police Society in Bergen County. That was also a great honor. It's a tribute to the Italian-American. I would like to thank you all for honoring me, and have a good evening. Thank you.
We now move to the Arts and Science Award, and the presenter is no stranger to the Italian-American National Hall of Fame. He was our 1993 inductee. Dr. Charles Simone is a nationally famous oncologist, and he's a founder of the Simone Protective Cancer Center in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. He's a dear friend, a good neighbor. May I present Dr. Charles Simone to the presenter.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here. It's a great honor to be here always. It's now my honor to talk about Frank Gargione. He's currently the program manager of the Advanced Communications Technology Satellite Program for Lockheed Martin Missiles, right here in East Windsor, New Jersey. He was born in the province of Salerno. He came to America in 1955 at the age of 17. And he attended Trenton Central High School, where he learned English and graduated in 1956. He earned a Bachelor's of Science in Engineering, Electrical Engineering at Drexel, and then a master's degree from the University of Pennsylvania in Electrical Engineering. In addition to his technical and program management responsibilities, Frank has assisted NASA in promoting the Special Communications Satellite Program at seminars, national and international conferences, technical meetings, and to prospective satellite users throughout the world. Because of his many technical papers, his numerous lectures throughout the world, and ability to organize and coordinate scientists from around the world, he has been awarded the Author of the Year Award from Martin Marietta Aerospace in 1995, and also he was inducted into the United States Space Foundation Space Technology Hall of Fame in April of '97. While lecturing at the University of Rome in 1993, however, he suggested that the top scientists from Italy, Japan, and the US work together to promote and utilize a special frequency of satellite communications called the Ka band. The importance of this special frequency of communications is that it provides a network around the globe to provide two-way communications anywhere on Earth by using small antennas located on the user's premises. It was because of Mr. Gargione's expertise in this project that it has been promoted successfully, and he attained a level of sophistication which it now has. The Ka band, the special frequency band, has now formal conferences that Mr. Gargione started. These conferences have now become the sentinel points of information for this very special mode of communication around the world. In addition to his scientific achievements, Frank has managed to devote a great deal of time to community service projects, which include major fundraising services for St. Joachim's Church and also the Lions Club in Lawrence. He's been the president of Holy Name Society, the founder of Central Jersey American Italian Historical Association, and editor of its newsletter. He is also on the advisory committee of Mercer County Community College and secured many donations to become a leader in the computer-aided design network there. He's married to Lucy as well, and they have 4 children: Caroline, an attorney; Angela, a CPA; Nicole, a teacher; and Frank Jr., a future architect. Maybe his family can stand up. It is indeed an honor and my great pleasure to present to you tonight Frank Gargione. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Simone. I was told that I didn't have to say much tonight, so I didn't prepare anything, but of course, I'm never at a loss for words. As you heard, I've been here for about 42 years. When I first came, I thought I would never learn English. I thought it was so difficult and it was so incomprehensible. But thanks to the help of a lot of people from Trenton High School, I learned. And a lot of people along the way have supported me in many of my endeavors. I'd like to acknowledge my mother, my wife, my children, all my friends from my hometown who have been always near us to support us in times of need. One thing I would like to say is this about the Italian spirit. We have all come from small towns. My town is so small that you said your town is 12,000 people. That's a metropolis by comparison. Our town is so small. It was about 200 people at one time. It's about 20 or 30 now. And in the summer, it swells up. However, it has given us a lot of good people. And all of us have come here, other parts of the world, and we have tried and striven to do the best we could. We have always chosen some of the causes which were not the easiest one to achieve in, and probably that's the reason why we did as well as we have, sometimes in spite of ourselves. The same thing with this gay band activity in which I worked about 15 years. It was thought to be a frequency unusable. It was scorned by everyone, but by perseverance, by telling people, by showing, by demonstrating it around the world, we've been able to create a whole new industry which is going to be launching satellites in the next 2 or 3 years to the tune of about $40 or $50 billion in the United States alone. So much for that. I want to finish because it's very late and I'm sure you're tired. I want to thank everyone who's been here to support me during all these years. My wife, my children, my mother, my friends, and all of you who are here tonight. Thanks again, and may God bless you.
We move now last and certainly far from least, the inductee award. And as I looked over the list of presenters, I find that all of them have great credentials of their own, starting with Colonel Petrucci down to Marissa, Jalander, Zazzali, Simone, Dr. Simone, and now we have Colonel Angelo Candelori of the United States Marine Corps Reserve, retired, who will be the presenter here. You know, Angelo is a dear friend. He has put in 30 years at the Princeton University Plasma Physics Laboratory, and you know what a prestigious organization that is. That is worldwide renowned. In addition to that, Angelo is a Cavaliere. That means he was honored by the Italian government, by the President of the Italian Republic, in the Order of the Stella della Solidarietà Italiana. He is a Cavalier, symbolic of a knighthood, and right now, Angelo Candelori.
Ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you at the outset that I was elated when the President of the Italian-American National Hall of Fame asked me if I would present to you our 1997 Hall of Fame inductee. Frankly, I consider it a particular pleasure since he and I have met previously on a less formal occasion, but I'll get to that in a minute. I will tell you that he is a product of the state of Delaware, born and reared in Wilmington, where he first began to make a name for himself. It was obvious back then that he was destined to succeed.
As an example, while in high school, he achieved numerous awards and distinctions, including being named a Diamond State Scholar, the highest recognition granted to a student in the state of Delaware. No, he wasn't the typical high school student, not by a long shot. Few, if any other students, or adults for that matter, are recognized as he was by the governor of his state, who in 1989 proclaimed June 6th Syropopody Day throughout the state of Delaware. After graduation from high school, our honored guest went on to attend one of the most distinguished universities in our country, our own Princeton University. It wasn't until his senior year at Princeton that I first heard of him. He was described to me as an active and energetic student with a strong and sincere passion for his Italian heritage. And he was credited as the moving force and organizer of Italian cultural and social programs and activities within the university. I was anxious to meet him, so a week before he graduated from Princeton, he and I had lunch together over a discussion of our Italian heritage. In 1993, he graduated from Princeton with a Bachelor of Arts in Film Studies. Now, for those of you who are from the Princeton area, you should note that his senior thesis was titled The Italians of Princeton. However, his career in the performing arts began long before his years at Princeton. At the age of 15, he played a key role in the motion picture titled Lucas by 20th Century Fox. Since then, his theatrical experience has included not only motion pictures, but also stage and television as well. Besides his acting career, our honored guest has written, produced, and directed several public service documentaries, including the documentary titled Why I'm Proud to Be an Italian American. When he is not performing in front of or behind the motion picture camera or under the theatrical lights, you will find him actively involved in and in the forefront of Italian American activities. He is a member of the board of directors of NIAF, the National Italian American Foundation, based in Washington, D.C., and he is chairman of NIAF's Youth Institute, which he helped to establish. Under his leadership, in just 3 short years, the Youth Institute, which is devoted to Italian cultural activities, has a membership of some 4,000 young Italian Americans from across the country. He is chairman of the Providence, Rhode Island Film Festival to be held this fall, entitled Cinema e Cucina Italiana. He serves as advisor to the World Bocce Association, the Italian American Sports Hall of Fame, and the West Virginia Italian Heritage Festival. At the age of 26, our guest of honor holds the distinction of being the youngest person to be inducted into the Italian American National Hall of Fame since our inception 23 years ago. During his 26 years, he has already achieved more than most people achieve in a lifetime. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to welcome our honored guest, the Italian American Hall of Fame inductee for 1997, Mr. Syropopody.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can't fool me. I know that you were standing up because it's 8:15 and we haven't eaten yet, and you want to eat. By the way, Carl, we are going to get dinner, right? That's included. I just want to make sure about that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you're equally surprised as I was when you received your invitation to this dinner and opened it up and found out the name of the nominee into the Hall of Fame. I'm sure you said, we're inducting whom? Who is this Spiro Pavarotti Dottie Lottie? Well, first of all, my name is Ciro Papati, and I'm standing before you here tonight because for the past 3 years, I have produced and created the National Italian American Foundation Public Service Announcement Series. What is this series? Well, it comprises over 30 very short television commercials, positive television commercials, featuring the best Italian Americans talking about the best of Italian American history. We have Joe Montana speaking about Joe DiMaggio, Tony Bennett speaking about Frank Sinatra. We have Regis Philbin, an Italian American, talking about fitness guru Charles Atlas, Geraldine Ferraro talking about the first woman governor, Ella Grasso, and Tommy Lasorda talking about the great Vince Lombardi. Since their release last October, these commercials have appeared on over 150 television stations around the country, and some other stars who participated included Mario Cuomo, New Jersey's own John Bon Jovi, Chaz Palminteri, Yogi Berra, Bill Rizzuto, Ruth Buzzi, and Joe Piscopo. I created these spots because I am and was tired of the incessant stream of negative images of Italian Americans on television. Now, do you agree with that? And I am proud and grateful that the National Italian American Foundation believed in me, believed in my ideas, and supported my project from start to finish. Now, does producing an Italian American public service announcement series qualify me for induction into the Hall of Fame? To my mind, probably not. But don't think for an instant that I'm going to give it back. Not tonight, Carl. Instead, I'd like to think that my induction is a symbolic way to honor so many others who deserve recognition. It is a way to honor young Americans of Italian descent who are doing great things for their country. I'm thinking of Mark Molinaro, 21 years of age, of Tivoli, New York, who is the youngest mayor in America. I'm thinking of Capri Cafaro, who last year at the age of 18 became the youngest graduate in Stanford University history. Not to mention those more famous, like Oscar winner Mira Sorvino, only 29, and baseball all-star Mike Piazza. My induction is also a way to honor the Italian Americans from the great state, although small, it's still great, of Delaware, where I was born and raised. I don't know if our dear friends in New Jersey know this, but an Italian American from Delaware signed the Declaration of Independence. Did you know that? His name was Caesar Rodney. And though sick with cancer, he rode to Philadelphia through thunder and rain just in time to vote for independence. And his nephew, Caesar Augustus Rodney, was the first Italian American to serve in the United States Congress and Senate and serve as Attorney General. But you know as well as I do that there are so many Italians from Delaware who will never be in any Hall of Fame. Yet they are the real heroes, the ones who lead quiet but extraordinary lives. So I hope that when you look upon my name in the hall, you will also think of those who are with me here tonight from Italo-Americans United, our group over in Wilmington, Delaware. And I'm speaking about the Martas and Tavanis, the Sabatinos, Paganos, Cheffis, Paolinos, Ianis, Cameranos, Santoros, Panelones, Ambrosinos, and Malatestas. Finally, of course, I represent an interesting clan, the Papatis. Never has a bushel covered our lamp, where lawyers, bankers, farmers, even a bodybuilding champ. Our name is echoed in academic halls. We've sung at governor's grand balls. We'll sell you mushroom signs, plumbing ware, and cars. Knock on wood, thank God, none of us are behind bars. They like that one, But there are two special poppities to me, so please say hello to my parents, Ciro and Louise, which are right here. I did good, Mom. In closing, and yes, we're going to eat. In closing, I just want to say one thing, Mr. Padula. It is an honor to be here on the platform with you, sir. I also want to thank you, Carl Carabelli, and the Italian-American National Hall of Fame for making this a very special night for me. Let me just say that as we're here in Atlantic City, the Tropicana Hotel, on a great night, tonight during dinner and for the rest of the night, I will be covering all bets and taking all winners. Thank you very much.
Identify with the Godfather, Goodfellas.
Well, you know, the trouble is that the media always dramatizes.
May we all stand, please, for the toast? Have your attention, please. This is a toast to all our honorees and a prayer to our recipient of our Medal of Valor, who we honor posthumously. We toast you, we pray for you tonight at this our annual induction and awards dinner. May you have an abundance of blessings and good health, you who have given of yourselves for mankind. And to the Italian-American National Hall of Fame, under the great leadership of our President, Carl Carabelli, may we continue to recognize those who work unselfishly for fellow man. Salute e cent'anni. Hear, hear. Buon appetito, everyone.